So this is habit number 2, identify the relative depth at every position. Let's do that for the running back group here, Jay. And we have the top 10 coming off the board in about the first 22-ish picks as we see them right here.
Yep, and obviously the nature of running back is that there is more attrition at this position. Generally, a running back is going to miss around like 2.0 games per season, whereas a wide receiver is half of that, and so that attrition gets baked in, and that's why I think that, we talk about how you can mainly lose your draft in the first round as opposed to win it, and that's why I think there is the preference for wide receivers at the top of the draft. At the same time, I think this class is particularly compelling because, McCaffrey's going number 1, as he should. He's Christian McCaffrey, but Breece Hall and Bijan Robinson, I think those are absolutely potential league winners, and there are worlds where we go into next year and one of those two guys is being taken first.
Yeah. So you see here, these are where the top 10 running backs are going on Yahoo. 10 of the first 20 picks on Yahoo, basically, are running backs. This is higher than I have them in the overall ranks. Having said that, though, depending on where you're drafting, depending on who falls to you, I'm okay doing that because so many of the higher ranked wide receivers for me are going later. So again, this is about mock drafting and understanding where you can get players and especially the site that you're playing on, because you can do stuff like that. You're like, okay, like Nico, because these running backs are going higher than I would take them, but the fact of the matter is whoa, like I have Nico Collins at 17. I can get him at 34 or pick 35. Malik Nabers I have him inside as a top 30 overall player. He's going outside the top 65 on Yahoo, right? I mean, Deontay Johnson's going to catch every pass in Carolina. They're going to feed him in a big way. Rasheed Rice, I have him at 40. He's going outside the top 90. Again, to your point, Jay, I don't think he gets suspended this year. I think that case gets kicked. I think if we see a suspension for Rice, I think it happens in 2025. But again, just understanding where all the players are going, understanding the relative depth of the position. I think you want an elite wide receiver, but on Yahoo specifically, you can wait longer than I would somewhere else on another site, because they're going honestly much later than I would think. The other thing is, Connor, as we talk about this, and we've seen this for years, rookie wide receivers especially, Rasheed Rice is a great example, takes them a little while to acclimate to the league. Not everyone is Jamar Chase right out of the gate, but once they acclimate to the league, often over the second half of the year, they become factors down the stretch.
Yeah, we saw massive moments from Jaden Reed when you talk about another wide receiver that's really, kind of figured it out in the later half or the middle half of the season.
Jordan Addison last year.
Jordan Addison is another guy. We saw JSN getting more factored, in weeks towards the end of the season. So when you're taking wide receivers, especially in your keeper league, and take one at the end and see where it goes.
Puka Nacua, of course, is
that was a little tougher to
standard,
yeah,
right? But the point is like, yes, it's especially later in your draft, like those rookie wide receivers, especially ones that were reasonably highly drafted.
They might need more time. They might need an injury. They might just need a little bit more. But the second half of the season, you could be starting them in your flex every single week as a very viable option. And this, another spot, guys, here where the depth is so important to understand is tight end, because it's so different this year, Matthew. For so many years, it felt like, Kelsey's going to be the guy, and then we have this wide open pool. And this year, the wide open pool kind of starts at 1 and goes all the way, maybe even to 5, where it starts with Sam Laporta, but all the way that stretch to Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah. So I think. Used to be Kelsey was a first or second round pick because not only was he so good, he was so much better than everyone else. But to your point there, first I have Sam Laporta at number 1, but just look at the overall rank there. So I have Laporta at 37. I have my number 4 ranked tight end, Mark Andrews, at 46 overall. So less than 10 spots separate the top 4 tight ends. You got Dalton Kincaid, another 10 after that, Kittle as well. Like, I think you definitely want a tight end that's on this screen. Because I will say that, unlike previous years where there was like a couple of guys that were really good and then there were all these sleepers that you're like, one of these guys will pop. I feel really good about the guys on this screen right here, 1 through 10. And for people that are just listening, Laporta, Kelsey, McBride, Andrews, Kincaid, Kittle at 6, Evan Ingram at 7, Jake Ferguson at 8, Kyle Pitts at 9, and David Njoku at 10. I feel really good about all those guys having, fantasy production this year. I don't love a lot of the sleepers. There's a couple guys that I like,
right.
Could have Noah Fant pop this year.
See what Bowers could do.
Chigga Okonkwo is, I do think Tennessee's going to be a much more.
You always get chiggy with it.
I do get chiggy with it. I do love my Chigga Okonkwo. But generally speaking, like, I think you want an elite tight end this year. But I think I would much rather have Trey McBride or Mark Andrews in the 4th, 5th round than Laporta in the 2nd, 3rd, because again, there's not a bunch of difference between the top 4 tight ends, and honestly, I think Kincaid has a big year as well.
Okay, you have a chance to win $1 million in the NBC Sweepstakes on Yahoo Fantasy. Just download the redesigned Yahoo Fantasy app or go to NBCSports.com/fantasymillion for additional details. What are you waiting for?
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.